Now let's make welcome contestant number 3. Alton Henley, world class. World class, Alton Henley.
The people in this room are here for a variety of reasons. Some of you are here to learn to be a better public speaker. Some of you are here because you love hearing public speeches. Some of you are even here to get over your fear of public speaking. But I have a message to each and every one of the people in this room. You can be a world-class impromptu speaker. Yes, you. World-class. Not good, not competent, not adequate, but great. Madam Table Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. There are 4 rules to being an awesome impromptu speaker. They have nothing to do with protocol. They have nothing to do with anything but connecting and forming relationship with your audience. They are connection, interaction, exaggeration, and what is the 4th? Is the question. I'll leave that to the end. Connection. If you happened to be riding to school with me when I was 14 years old, you would have noticed something odd. Every morning, my father stopped at Roy Rogers and ordered the same thing. A cup of coffee and 2 hash browns. One for me and one for my sister. And every morning, the same thing happened. We didn't get what we ordered. Now, I know what you're thinking. You always have to check your order when you go through the drive-thru. The twist is, we got extra. We got things we didn't order when we went to the drive-thru. My father was the type of person who did an excellent job of connecting with people. He was always asking, how are you doing? You haven't been to work for 2 days. Where'd you go? Did you go on vacation? How is that new baby of yours? How are you feeling? And the ladies at Roy Rogers formed a connection with my dad. We never saw them at any other time. We never encountered them anywhere other than Roy Rogers. But at 8:25 every morning, they were looking for the nice guy with the 3 kids in the back seat of the car. And they gave us free stuff. So the thing you have to consider is connection. If you connect with people, to put it bluntly, they will give you free stuff. Now, when you're speaking, what you want is their attention. You want their approval. You want their approbation. So if you can connect with your audience by doing very simple things, you will set yourself up to having a good impromptu speech. If at all possible, in groups of less than 40, make eye contact with every single person in the room at least once. In groups of more than 40, scan over the tops of their heads. A friend of mine likes to use their foreheads because he can't stand to actually make eye contact, but to the people in the audience it looks the same. Also, if you can, before the meeting, stop and talk to everyone you see. Say, hi, how you doing? If they like you, everything you do will come off a little bit better. And if they don't, everything you do will come off a little bit worse. Step 1 is connection. Interaction is simple. It's banter. Banter is that light type of conversation that we all have, where you say something and somebody else says something back real quick. And what makes banter important is that an impromptu speech, in many ways, is a conversation between you and the audience. The audience isn't talking back to you, but through your gestures, through your expressions, through your hopefully laughter and applause, if I'm unfortunate from your frowns and grunts of disapproval, you will speak back to me, and I will understand what we're communicating about. And if I'm good at banter when people are actually making statements, I can become good at banter in a situation such as this. So when you are talking to people, and let's say you come to work late, and someone goes, you're keeping banker's hours today. Don't get mad. Don't tell them it's none of their business. Don't ignore them. Give them a shot back. Because through the practice of banter, you will become better at impromptu speaking. So step number 1 was connection. Step number 2 was interaction. Step number 3. When I was 14 years old, I made the mistake of asking my father one question too many on a day when he was tired. You know the kind of kid I'm talking about. Why is blue cheese so expensive? Where does blue cheese come from? How come we can eat blue cheese and blue cheese is blue, but we can't eat the regular cheese when the regular cheese turns blue? My father told me blue cheese dressing comes from the milk of virgin goats raised in the Himalayan mountains by monks who have taken a vow of silence. It sounded great to me. I was small. It was an exciting, it was an exaggerated, it was a larger-than-life story. It was almost magical. So I took it and internalized it. And if you fast forward 12 years later, I'm still believing that blue cheese dressing comes from the milk of virgin goats. I'm at dinner with my boss, and my boss's boss, and Julio asked me, why do you always eat blue cheese dressing? And I told him, it was my father's favorite salad dressing. I didn't get it that often. And did you know? Blue cheese dressing comes from the milk of virgin goats, raised in the, as I was saying it, I realized, virgin animals don't give milk. And my father's a liar. The important fact of that, though, was the exaggeration. By making the story larger, it stuck in my mind. When I was 14 years old, I went to Banneker High School. My best friend's name was Mark, and my dog's name was Scott. I couldn't tell you anything else that happened that year, but I can quote that conversation word for word. The lie that he told, the exaggeration he made, because some blue cheese dressing does come from the milk of goats, their virginity or promiscuity is a separate question. But it stuck in my mind, and it was the hallmark of a good impromptu speech. You weren't just sad, you were despondent. You're not happy, you were jumping for joy. There weren't a couple of kids walking into your office. There was a whole gaggle of geese coming through, quacking and making all kinds of noise. So step number 3 is exaggeration. And finally, if you do nothing else, you have to enjoy the interaction. If you can connect with your audience, if you can interact with your audience, and if you can exaggerate when you're speaking to your audience, all of those are great things. But if you don't enjoy the interaction, unfortunately, especially if you're connected to your audience, then they will tell that you don't enjoy the interaction. If you're speaking to an audience that you don't like, they will know it. So if at all possible, you have to stop, center yourself, and enjoy the interaction. Have fun up here. This stage encompasses the entire world. Through what you do here, you can become good, you can become better, and you can become world class. Madam.
One minute of silence, please.